I'm a sort of a math guy or a science guy. I was highly dyslexic and struggled with writing and reading and communications in the written form, and maybe even the verbal form. Sometimes I don't pronounce words correctly, things like that, and that's all tied into my dyslexia. And so I struggled along. So what I liked was math and science, so I became an engineer. And I did really good in those engineering classes, but I came to Gonzaga as a transfer student. So that meant my junior and senior year, I had to take all the core classes. So I had to have four philosophy classes and 2 religion classes. And and I thought from my learning disability background and just my interest, I wouldn't have any fun with that stuff. And I found that they were my most interesting and enjoyable classes. They were mostly enjoyable because of wonderful faculty that mostly were Jesuit, but it was kind of fun to think about things. And so we would, debate what's the right logical system, or we would think about how, people thought about human interaction and problems and what's the right behavior and how do you know if you're doing the right thing. And something that appeared to me at the time just to be kind of an interesting sort of discussion, almost a game, set some really fundamental principles that I think really helped me be successful. And that's really what Jesuits are all about. It's great to dialogue and debate, and you learn through, thinking outside the box and then getting influenced maybe back into a box that has a fundamental shape to it that is ethical behavior, humanistic behavior, contributory behavior. And at the end of the day, once you go through all of this process, those are just things that you believe in. They're fundamental to you. And they really guide how you make decisions in the future. And because you make decisions like that, you have success. A good example is contribution. So, if I help somebody just because it feels good to help that somebody, I don't worry about how I get paid for it or what it is. An example, I'll give you a customer example. So if a customer has a problem with the software that I implement, my strategy has always been go fix the problem. Don't ask for money, don't ask for how you're going to get paid or compensated, just go fix it. And a few times a customer maybe doesn't have a method to pay me for that right away. But then they feel contributory to me because I was contributory to them. And at the end of the day, most of the time you get more out of that contribution than you put out. But you at least felt really good about it. And that feeling of feeling good about a customer, and that customer then in exchange feeling good about you, is a fundamental business philosophy I have that was all about my Jesuit training. So I think that way of thinking, that way of interacting, a fundamental who you are sort of approach that the Jesuits help you with without really telling you that they're doing that. So because it's so much a part of who they are and how they think that they just sort of ingrains in you. So if you look at a Gonzaga education, a Jesuit education, you sort of get that byproduct. And I've hired lots of Gonzaga graduates, and it's a common thing that we have, which I think is very important.